I am doing a review for PSVR.com. So today we're going to be looking at VEV, and it's a game that I find very interesting. I've heard very little about it. By the time of this review, I'm reviewing it a little older of a game, so it's been out for a little while. So I'm in VR, and one thing you immediately notice is you're in a scientific lab, and it kind of looks like, yeah, you're a grad student, you work too hard. One thing developers did is on the back of your chair that you're sitting on in the game, put this note that said, you know, you have this fancy VR headset and you're using it to look at the back of your chair. Kind of feels like a little joke, kind of cool, I like that. And I figure I'll get right into it. I'm not going to do too many of the levels. I want, if you're interested in the game, you can see the review or the streams we have online. But I'm just going to do like probably freshwater for right now. Just get you an idea of how the game works. And then just some of the impressive, the atom bomb, that's actually me. I have, well, you know, one of the higher scores still, but just see how the mechanics work, see what the visuals look like, and see if you're interested in it. So one thing I do right off the bat, joysticks will move you, as you could probably guess. One thing I like to do is go in here and VR camera turn speed. So they put it slow because this game could very well make you very disoriented, but thankfully I don't get really too disoriented, so I do fast, because the faster you can go, the more successful you're going to be in the game. As you'll see, some of the energy that you're going to be needing, it's clumped together. You have to make pretty sharp turns to get it all in a more time effective manner, and so the faster you do that, the harder turns you can make, the more energy you can pick up. So ultimately the goal of this game is you're this little so you're this little thing right here, and that little ball that's connected to me there, that is just energy. And so you use energy as you're going through these samples that you can see over here to the left, highest energy and total energy. So that's the energy that I'm expending as I'm floating through this sample, and you have to collect energy to be sure you can keep enough energy to keep searching through the sample. There's a 10-minute timer or 15-minute timer for each stage, and there's some aspects of the gameplay that we will cover. I guess the first one's right now. Some of the samples have enemies in them, like this little guy. And some of them, they all do their own little thing. Some of them are a complete and utter bear to get rid of. That one wasn't too bad. You do have a speed option. If you press R2, your little guy goes faster. You can run away from them. But some of the inhabitants in some of these samples, they follow you. None of them are really faster than you if you go full speed, but obviously you waste more energy that way, and so you just keep running and running and running, and they just constantly chase after you. And like this guy got me again. This was a different one, but he still got me. But thankfully, yeah, if they're not too bad, you can just run away from them. A couple important things to know to be successful in the game. One, if they get you, they will drain energy from you. So they'll knock off all the energy that you're holding, like that I'm holding right here. And then they will also take energy away from you. Whereas my total energy we see is 65, they'll take some of that away as well. So that is one aspect of the game to remember. A couple things that I like to do personally that help in succeeding in this game is, one, I like to, like I said, make the speed as fast as I can take it. Thankfully, I'm able to do fast without really getting disoriented. And then 2, I like to use L2, which slows you down. It uses less energy, slows you down, and it allows you to go towards some of those pockets of energy where they're really close. That way you can slow down. You don't have to hit them directly because you kind of have some type of gravitational attraction to the energy. So even if you're somewhat around it, it will just come to you, which is nice. And another key piece of strategy, which they even tell you in the tutorial, it's not like I'm telling you anything super impressive here, but the more energy that you collect on yourself, the more, well, I guess the more balls of energy, the more total energy you can get. So for example, I don't remember what the increments are, but if you start picking up these energy balls right off the bat, they may be like 5, what do we have here, picojoules of energy. And then once you get, say, 10 energy balls, then they start be counting 10 picojoules each. And then if you get 20 or 15, then each one is 20 picojoules, and then it just keeps increasing. So it is to your advantage to wait till the very last minute before you run out of total energy, and then cash in all of the energy that you've collected, because it will multiply and it'll end up making you more energy than if you just immediately grab some energy and then cash it in. So all you have to do is press X, and you see you absorb it, and then now look, I have 388 picojoules of energy. For each level or sample, you have to reach 1,000 picojoules. That's the goal, because one, you need to stay within the sample this long, because the objective is, in fact, to look at the sample, see what's going on, look at the organisms, and just experience what soil and water and blood and brain tissue is like in a, say like this guy. I hate these guys. They're, I think these are the ones that will follow you for a long time. While he's following me, I figured I might as well go slow, pick up some of that energy, and I forgot what I was saying before he started chasing me. Unfortunately, yep, see, he's still going. Yeah, the best way is you pretty much just gotta run away from people. They're not just gonna let you go, you actually have to run away from them. But still, you also have to like totally turn around, like, see, yeah, I didn't see him, he was up there, he's still coming. But the aspects of the gameplay that are most important, I think I've explained there. There's not really too much to the gameplay itself. Like, it's a pretty simple game in terms of what you're supposed to do. However, the execution of it is a little harder. See, that guy's still following me. Come on. This is when I'm like, you know, I'm sitting here burning a ton of energy. Like, there's no reason he should still be following me at this point, but there he is. So, the aspects and the gameplay is pretty simple theoretically. However, some of the levels, I have to admit, some are way too easy. Like, you could be not trying at all and get 1,000 picojoules. And then others are just near borderline impossible. I have gotten through all the game, played all the levels. I'm not an experienced gamer. I'm not like a gaming god or anything. So it is possible for just an average guy to pick it up, play it, and be able to beat it. But some of the levels were very difficult. So it's important to know in each sample where is the best places to find energy, because it's not always the same. When you're right here, I think, you know, we're in soil or fresh water rather, and you're like, okay, well, the little nooks and crannies of things, that's the best place to go to find energy. Like, that's, I don't know, it's intuitive nature, I suppose, to think that's where you'd find energy. And oftentimes that is where you find energy. Like, see, we've got that exactly. We also got another freaking annoying thing that we're gonna have to deal with. But see, he almost got me, but he missed. Let that low energy pellet hit me. There we go. Okay, but not all of the levels have that same type of like, not all the energy are going to be in little nooks and crannies like it was for this one. Also, there are a couple of the levels where it's totally not intuitive, but you have to sprint the entire time and just pick up energy as you're sprinting, or you'll die, because there are so many energies that, or so many enemies that absorb you and ultimately kill you. So that, okay, come on, look how far, and he's still chasing me. Oh, they run right into another one. You have to be kidding me. These guys are one of my least favorite, just because they follow you so far. I typically like to go slow, not full on like putting on the brakes slow, but to go like average speed, not to sprint, because you think like, okay, well, if you go fast, you're more likely to find bundles of energy, and it could be a double-edged sword, because you could do that, but then if you don't find any, you're wasting energy, and then you'll never catch back up. I think that guy's away from me. I don't see him anymore. Sounds good. So, we have 7 minutes left in this, and then I'm gonna cut it off and maybe start a live stream of a longer gameplay. But just for a review, one thing I definitely want to mention is one reason this game has me so enthralled, and one reason why I like it so much, is that the visuals on it are just, they're fantastic. They did an amazing job. I was so busy with the gameplay, I didn't stress this yet. I did have it on my mind. I wasn't going to forget it, but the visuals are awesome. It really is like you are in a very small sample underneath the microscope of these different things. So this is fresh water, there's blood, there's soil, there's, I forgot what a couple of the other ones were off the top of my head, but they are all awesome. This one's cool. The soil is really neat because there are a lot more predators, and right off the bat we saw a water bear. If you can go back to the beginning of this review of the stream and look at it, there was like a water bear, and we have all of these little enemies that kept following me. In the main menu, they go through each one, and supposedly, I mean, I totally believe them. I say supposedly, I just don't know the names of them, but they are modeled after actual organisms that you would find in water or in another type of sample you look at under a microscope. And so that's really neat that they took it, characterized it, and put it in a game. So like right here is a good way and a good example of why I like to be in the fast mode, is because you can put on the brake and turn around and stop in a dime. If you had the easy, or I think they call it slow, or the normal movement speed, there's no way you would be able to do that. You'd have to take a really wide turn, so go farther out and take a wider turn in. So the music is kind of like what you've been hearing so far. It's nothing like absolutely, I mean, it's nothing great. It's kind of, I don't know if it's soothing, but I mean, you're not playing the game for the music. It's not going to rock you or anything. It's suitable for what the game is. But I think the thing that makes this game so unique is the fact that it is a very strong visual stimulus, essentially, I suppose, and that is just awesome to be part of the sample and just to see what it would be like to be under a microscope, looking at these everyday things that we see all the time and don't think a second more about. The gameplay is challenging, especially in certain levels. A couple times I've gotten annoyed just because if you can come really close, like one time I forgot what it was like 980 picojoules. I didn't make the 1,000, and I had to redo the whole 15 minutes. And I mean, for a game like this, 15 minutes of gameplay is actually quite a bit for like a single level. But you know, it comes with its pros and cons. I think the more you play this game, the more you understand that you need to just take it in. Don't be so worried about the energy. Obviously, your first playthrough and before you actually beat the game, you're going to be completely enthralled in trying to actually beat it and get all the energy, get through all the stages, and that's what I did. It's probably just naturally as a gamer, that's what you're going to do. But once you beat it, you can stop worrying about, okay, how many picojoules of energy? Am I gonna live? Am I gonna die? And you can just fully appreciate the experience more. You can just look at the samples. You can be your own little eukaryote. I forgot what they called them. It's something like eukaryote traveling device or something. I don't know. So here's an example of that water bear. And like just seeing some of the enemies here is so cool because you're seeing them magnified. I mean, you're seeing them as like maybe you would see them in water. So like I just think that's so cool. That's just one example. There's several others that are equally as cool, and some of them, like him, he eats some of the energy. So if you hang around him, or if you're not fast enough, he'll eat some of the energy. And at certain times during the game, you really need that energy in order to obviously live or reach your 1,000 picojoules or whatever it may be. So I think overall, I'm definitely enjoy this game. I forgot what I paid for it. It was really cheap. It wasn't too much. It was definitely worth. I'm thinking it was maybe $5-6. It wasn't more than that, and it was definitely worth that. I don't know if it's a game that you could sit down and play hours. You could probably do an hour's worth, but any more than that, it's not that stimulating. It's not that exciting to be able to play it for hours on end. But it's something that every now and then, even though I've beaten it, I definitely come back and play, just because it just looks so cool, and it's a novel idea. There's nothing else like it. I'm kind of a science nerd to begin with, and so that obviously helps because growing up, I used to look at all this stuff under slides of microscopes, and now I'm in it. Like, it's super cool. They did an amazing job with it. There's only maybe, you can look back at the main menu, but there's probably 6-7 levels, so it's not a long game either. I don't think it's that popular, unfortunately, either. I don't know whether it's marketing or just a lack of interest when you read reviews or see trailers, but it's one game I would definitely consider to everybody, especially because it's somewhat definitely one of the cheaper options on the PSVR catalog. And then I just think it's an awesome game. The visuals are good, gameplay is simple, not overly exciting, but good enough to spend a few hours here and there beating the game, enjoying the visuals, and seeing what it would be like to actually be an organism within these different cell samples. So I hope you guys enjoyed the review. That's my thoughts on VEV. I think you should go pick it up right now on the PlayStation Store. I also hope you take a look at our reviews on VEV and all of our other PSVR games on playpsvr.com. And I hope you guys have a good day. Hope you see you in the virtual world.
Operation complete.